Candide by Voltaire. Chapter 3. How Candide escaped from the burghers and what became of him. Nothing could have been so fine, so brisk, so brilliant, so well drilled as the two armies. The trumpets, the fifes, the oboes, the drums, and the cannon produced such a harmony as was never heard in hell. First, the cannons battered down about 6,000 men on each side. Then, volleys of musket fire removed from the best of worlds about 9,000 or 10,000 rascals who were cluttering up its surface. The bayonet was a sufficient reason for the demise of several thousand others. Total casualties might well amount to 30,000 men or so. Candide, who was trembling like a philosopher, hid himself as best he could while this heroic butchery was going on. Finally, while the two kings in their respective camps celebrated the victory by having Te Deum sung, Candide undertook to do his reasoning of cause and effect somewhere else. Passing by mounds of the dead and dying, he came to a nearby village, which had been burnt to the ground. It was in a bare village, which the burghers had burned, in strict accordance with the laws of war. Here, old men, stunned from beatings, watched the last agonies of their butchered wives, who still clutched their infants to their bleeding breasts. There, disemboweled girls who had first satisfied the natural needs of various heroes breathed their last. Others, half scorched in the flames, begged for their death stroke. Scattered brains and severed limbs littered the ground. Candide fled as fast as he could to another village. This one belonged to the burghers, and the heroes of the Aber cause had given it the same treatment. Climbing over ruins and stumbling over corpses, Candide finally made his way out of the war area, carrying a little food in his knapsack and never ceasing to dream of Miss Cunegonde. His supplies gave out when he reached Holland, but having heard that everyone in that country was rich and a Christian, he felt confident of being treated as well as he had been in the castle of the Baron before he was kicked out for the love of Miss Cunegonde. He asked alms of several grave personages, who all told him that if he continued to beg, he would be shut up in a house of correction and set to hard labor. Finally, he approached a man who had just been talking to a large crowd for an hour on end. The topic was charity. Looking doubtfully at him, the orator demanded, "What are you doing here? Are you here to serve the good cause?"
"There is no effect without a cause," said Candide modestly. "All events are linked by the chain of necessity and arranged for the best. I had to be driven away from Miss Cunegonde. I had to run the gauntlet. I have to beg my bread until I can earn it. None of this could have happened otherwise."
"Look here, friend," said the orator. "Do you think the Pope is Antichrist?"
"I haven't considered the matter," said Candide. "But whether he is or not, I'm in need of bread."
"You don't deserve any," said the other. "Away with you, you rascal, you rogue. Never come near me as long as you live."
Meanwhile, the orator's wife, who had put her head out of the window and, seeing a man who was not sure the Pope was Antichrist, emptied over his head a potful of scandalous, the excesses into which women are led by religious zeal. A man who had never been baptized, a good Anabaptist named Jacques, saw this cruel and heartless treatment being inflicted on one of his fellow creatures, a featherless biped possessing a soul. He took Candide with him, washed him off, gave him bread and beer, presented him with 2 florins, and even undertook to give him a job in his Persian rug factory, for these items are widely manufactured in Holland. Candide, in an ecstasy of gratitude, cried out,
"Master Pangloss was right indeed when he told me everything is for the best in this world, for I am touched by your kindness far more than by the harshness of that black-coated gentleman and his wife."
Next day, while taking a stroll about town, he met a beggar who was covered with pustules. His eyes were sunken, the end of his nose rotted off, his mouth twisted, his teeth black. He had a croaking voice and a hacking cough, and spat a tooth every time he tried to speak.